All right. Kahalo Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah HaKradash, Shalom and salutations and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, where I continue to learn this 100% true from. They rule well. Yahbashin Yahshua Barakatham. Shalom to the elder bishops. Yahbashin Yahshua Barakatham. Shalom to the elders and the prophets, the teachers, and evangelists also of Great Millstone, where I continue to learn 100% true from. Yahbashin Yahshua Barakatham to you all, the water for your sacrifices and your lessons. And last but not least, shalom to the speckled bird, the confused space, the Akim and Akwab, the Akim on the highways and byways doing this work. And last but not least, the elect. And I'm not sure what I wanted to entitle this video, but it's got a couple of videos I'm gonna play. Fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm not getting paid. I'm not collecting anything. It's only for teaching purposes only. 1976 Act. And I'll be right to time and give you some scriptures with it. So let's start what I have first. So much is going on out here. Start with this one first. I like it.
More breaking news right now. So Iran will not stop. Iran cannot stop. Iran's control of the Strait of Hormuz is its only real weapon. And as long as this war continues, Iran will keep using it. This is the fundamental difference. In 1973, the oil crisis was a temporary political tool. In 2026, the oil crisis is a permanent structural feature of this war. And the war has no end in sight. Okay, now I want to go deeper. Because the Strait of Hormuz story is actually just the beginning. The full picture is much more complicated and much more dangerous. Let me explain how the oil crisis is destroying not just prices, but the entire petrodollar system that Henry Kissinger built in 1974. Remember I said that Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states sell oil, get dollars, and recycle those dollars back into the American economy. That is the engine of American power. That is what funds American government debt. That is what funds the AI bubble and the technology companies that are now the foundation of the American stock market. But now look at what is happening to the Gulf states. The Strait of Hormuz carries not just oil out of the Gulf, it also carries food into the Gulf. The Gulf countries import 80 to 90% of their food supply. All of it comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, these are desert cities. They cannot grow their own food. They depend completely on imports. So when the strait closes, the food stops. Within days, cities of millions of people start running out of food. Within weeks, they run out completely. And it gets worse. Because the Gulf countries also depend on desalination plants for their fresh water, they live in a desert. There are no rivers. There is almost no groundwater. The only way they get fresh water is by taking seawater and removing the salt. These desalination plants provide 60% of all fresh water for the Gulf countries. And a $50,000 Iranian drone, not a sophisticated missile, just a cheap drone, can destroy a desalination plant worth billions of dollars. If the desalination plants are hit, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait run out of water in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Cities of 10 million people, no water. Now here is the consequence for the petrodollar system. If the Gulf states cannot sell their oil because the strait is closed, they do not have petrodollars. If they do not have petrodollars, they cannot recycle money back into America. If they cannot invest in America, the AI bubble bursts, the stock market crashes, American government bonds lose their buyer.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're heading into anarchy out here in Babylon in America, and it's obvious. And the only ones that don't see it really are those 2/3, and majority of you heathen nations, with you MAGAs and so on. I know not all of you, because some of you are starting to see what it is, and you're getting frustrated with him. But there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? This is all prophecy. This is Luke 21:34. And take heed to yourselves, lest any time your hearts be overcharged with suffering, surfeiting, and drunkenness, and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the earth. And that trap is set. And people are obviously going to fall into it. Meaning what? They're going to fall into the point of going out and going against the government. You will not, listen to your kings or your princes, just destroying the cities that they're in. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to put a spirit on a lot of these people to destroy their own cities and their towns, because their government has pretty much sold them short and put them in a position of to be destroyed. And they're seeing it. They're feeling the crunch. Especially you Edomite women, you know what I mean? You're feeling the crunch.
Debt becomes impossible to service. The entire American financial system, which depends on this constant recycling of Gulf oil money, starts to collapse. Okay, now I want to show you something. I want to show you what this oil crisis actually looks like on the ground. Not as numbers on a chart.
It's going to affect the people. You know what I'm saying? This is why you got to be praying, and you got to fear Yahweh Shem Yahushua and be praying. You should be watching. And I know for a fact a lot of you jakes, y'all don't pay attention to what's going on around you. We're about to go into May, and all you can think about is how you want to hang out, where you want to go and have fun at, not paying attention to what's going on in the world, what Nero is doing, what Israel is doing, and what these other nations are preparing to do to Israel and to Babylon. The scriptures are clear on even understanding why these other nations are going to go against Israel and Babylon. The prophets have always been telling you this from day one. Really, for over 35 plus years, they've been telling you how and when, not when, but how and what is going to happen. And now we are in the when. Okay? Verse 36 of Luke 21. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and shall stand before the Son of Man. Because what? Judgment is coming. Yes, a lot of bodies are going to be, taken out.
Not as oil prices on a screen, but as real human suffering happening right now, today, in countries all around the world. Let us start with India. India is the world's third largest oil importer, a country of 1.4 billion people, and 40% of India's crude oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. But the problem for India is not just crude oil. The bigger problem is LPG, cooking gas. India gets 90% of its LPG imports through the Strait of Hormuz. And LPG is not a luxury in India. LPG is how 300 million Indian households cook their food every single day. This is India, the world's fastest growing major economy. 1.4 billion people, and they are fighting over cooking gas cylinders because of a war that started in the Persian Gulf. Now let us go from India to something that is, and I say this very carefully, one of the most extraordinary stories of this entire crisis. Cuba. Now, Cuba and the Iran war. You might be asking, what does Cuba have to do with the Iran war? Cuba is in the Caribbean. It is 90 miles from Florida. It is nowhere near the Strait of Hormuz or the Persian Gulf. And you are right. Cuba has nothing to do with the Iran war directly. But Cuba is suffering the worst energy crisis of any country in the world right now. And the reason why tells you everything about the kind of world we are living in. Okay, so let me explain. Cuba does not have enough oil of its own. Cuba produces about 40% of the fuel it needs. The rest it imports. And for the past 20 years, the country that supplied most of Cuba's oil was Venezuela. Venezuela would send Cuba roughly 35,000 barrels of oil per day under a special arrangement. Cuba provided doctors, teachers, and security advisors to Venezuela in exchange for discounted oil. It was a barter deal, and it kept Cuba running for 2 decades. But then, in January 2026, Trump sent American forces into Venezuela and arrested the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. America took control of Venezuelan oil, and immediately the oil shipments to Cuba stopped. Completely. On top of that, Trump signed an executive order threatening massive tariffs on any country in the world that dared to sell oil to Cuba. Mexico, which was also supplying oil to Cuba, immediately suspended its shipments because it was afraid of American tariffs. And the reason I find this so historically important, and here is where I want you to really pay attention, is that this
devil was the wicked, man. That's why you gotta go, man. You see what he said? As soon as Babylon took a hold of Venezuela, they stopped sending gas and oil to Cuba. And you got about 11 million out there. About 6 million of that, 6 million of them are without energy at all. This is effed up. You know they going crazy. Psalms 10 and 8. He sitteth in lurking places of the villages, and in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Israelites, man. Ain't nothing but Israelites out there in Cuba. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net.
This is the same strategy being applied in the Middle East. What America did to Cuba with oil, Iran is now doing to the entire American-aligned world with the Strait of Hormuz. One country controls the oil supply of another, cuts off the oil, collapse the economy, force the government to surrender or be replaced. America invented this strategy. America used it on Cuba, on Iran for decades through sanctions on Venezuela, on Russia, and now Iran is using the exact same strategy back against America and its allies. The Strait of Hormuz is America's own weapon turned against it. And Cuba, this tiny island that has nothing to do with Iran or the Strait, Cuba has become the collateral damage of this global oil war. A demonstration of what happens when a country loses its oil supply. A preview of what awaits any country that is on the wrong side of whoever controls the oil. Okay, let me now bring all of this together. In 1973, the oil crisis was a crisis of price. Oil became more expensive. That was painful. In 2026, the oil crisis is a crisis of the entire system. It is not just that oil is more expensive, it is that the system that has organized the global economy for 50 years, the petrodollar system, is being dismantled in real time. Think about the chain of events. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices explode from $70 to $122 in weeks. Japan, which gets 75% of its oil through the strait, is told it will run out of oil in 7 to 8 months. India, 1.4 billion people, is fighting over cooking gas cylinders. The Gulf states that fund American debt and the American stock market face existential threats to their food and water supply. Cuba, 11 million people, sits in complete darkness because America weaponized their oil supply in a completely separate conflict. And urea prices, fertilizer, have jumped 50%. Meaning food prices will rise for the next 2 years, even after this war ends. The world is being pushed structurally away from the dollar-centered system and toward whatever comes next. Not because China is so powerful, but because America's system has become so fragile, so overextended, so dependent on controlling the oil of others, that one war, one small channel of water 33 kilometers wide, can threaten to bring the whole thing down. And here is the final point I want to make. The most important point of all. The 1973 oil crisis had a Kissinger, a brilliant strategic mind who looked at the crisis, understood what was happening structurally, and built a new system. The petrodollar, a solution that lasted 50 years. Who is the Kissinger of today? Who has the plan? America.
Let's go to the next video.
Response.
The U.S. Navy just got chased out of the Persian Gulf by drones. And the most powerful fleet in human history is now regrouping hundreds of miles away, trying to figure out how to go back. Here's what happened and why it changes this war completely. The United States Navy seized an Iranian cargo ship in the Gulf of Oman, a commercial vessel, under what Iran calls an illegal blockade. And Iran did not wait for dawn, did not wait for diplomacy. Within hours, the response was already in the air. Watch this.
Amid escalation in tensions, Iranian forces launched drones towards U.S. warships following an attack on an Iranian commercial vessel in the Sea of Oman.
Iranian forces strike back with drones targeting American naval assets in a rapid retaliation.
Some more news coming in. Iran now claims retaliations has hit U.S. ships with drones.
That just happened in real time, in the world's most strategically important waterway. And here's everything they're not telling you about what came next. This was not a warning shot. This was a full saturation strike. Iranian attack drones, variants of the Shahid series equipped with advanced swarm logic, came from 3 directions simultaneously. From the north, hugging the Iranian coastline to mask radar signatures. From the east, using civilian shipping lanes as cover. And in waves, not designed to destroy the ship in one strike, designed to empty its magazines first. The U.S. warship's Aegis defense system lit up with hundreds of targets at once. Each American interceptor missile costs over $2 million. Each Iranian drone costs a fraction of that. The warship fired until its vertical launch tubes ran dry, and then the drones found their mark. The ship wasn't sunk. What happened was arguably more humiliating. It was disabled. Explosions across the flight deck, at least 2 heavy helicopters destroyed in the open, turned into burning wreckage. The vessel went dark and sent out a distress signal that froze every commander at CENTCOM. And then the U.S. military did something nobody expected. They ordered a tactical retreat. Every ship in the area instructed to break formation and steam at full speed toward the Red Sea, putting as much geography as possible between the fleet and the Iranian coastline. The most expensive naval force in human history, running, from drones that cost less than a single F-35 fighter jet. Now here's the geography that makes this so devastating. To reach the relative safety of the Red Sea, that disabled warship has to sail hundreds of miles around the Arabian Peninsula, past the coast of Yemen, another active front in this war, through the narrow Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It is a long, humiliating journey, and every mile of it is visible to the entire world. But Iran wasn't done. While the U.S. fleet was retreating, Iranian naval units escalated mine-laying operations across the strait. Small, fast boats, nearly invisible on radar, seeding the water. And Iran has already admitted it cannot find all the mines it deployed, which means the U.S. Navy is now facing a clearance operation in shallow, narrow waters bordered by the Iranian coast, working essentially blind. You cannot bomb mines out of the water. You need specialized sweepers, and even then you are guessing. Meanwhile, the political...
Yeah, man, Babylon, man, they getting desperate, man. That's why, this draft is coming, which is going to be mandatory, just like that C-HIP. They're getting spanked, man. They pride, man. They can't handle it. This is Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw nigh, or near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And this is what countries like Iran have saying. They are now strong now. So this is why they're not calling on Russia or China, because right now they're handing foot to ass as far as dealing with America right now. So they don't need anybody. But eventually, Russia and China is going to have to step in. But right now, Iran is doing okay for themselves. They can't complain.
Damage inside America is compounding everything. Trump's approval rating just dropped to 37%. Only 1/4 of Americans approve of his handling of the Iran war. 61% say, take no further military action. That includes 1/3 of Republicans. And the generational shift is even more dramatic. 3 out of 4 Gen Z Americans now sympathize more with the Palestinian side than the Israeli government, a number that has never been seen before in American polling history. Iran controls the air above the strait with S-300 Russian-made systems.
This is Revelation 17 and 16, because he's telling you he doesn't even know it. He's telling you prophecy on everybody, including their own, of Babylon, hates Babylon. Revelation 17:16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, that's NATO, the EU, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. How are they going to burn Babylon with fire? With those nuclear warheads. Let's go ahead and get another video. Slovakia.
systems
is going to affect you. Now, if I don't have your attention yet, let me get you really scared. Are you ready? These are the 8 top humanoid robots that are in the market. I'm only going to focus on one. I'm going to focus on the one Figure 0 from Figure AI. Why am I focusing on them? They have contracts with the top 200 Fortune 200 companies in the world. They all have made their orders to order this robot. Not only have they put in orders, but they've also said, we want the robot to be smart, and they've given it huge amounts of data, their maintenance books. So a lot of these robots first will be deployed in jobs where human beings don't want to work, say in a factory, or people in mining who are about a kilometer underground in that heat. Nobody wants to work there. So these robots will be deployed there. So they've given all the data on all the manuals, so these robots know what to do. Now here's the thing, not only do these robots have all the data from the top 200 Fortune 200 companies in the world, these robots have all the knowledge of every ChatGPT and AI ever given. That's what's inside the brains of these robots. It has the power of this intelligence of AI, plus all the knowledge of the top Fortune 200 companies, and this is being deployed this summer. It's going to affect you. Now,
so you see what's happening. They're constantly it's like they're replacing you, but they're doing it quietly. So many places are losing employees. They're firing employees, Salakia, and it's getting really hard out there, man. This is what's that? Revelation 13 and 14, and it reads, and this. So I'll start at 13. And he doth great wonders. He doeth great wonders, Salakia, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth and in the sight of men. What was that? That was in the 1930s, raining fire, dropping those nukes in Japan. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. He lies to us, making us think that he's the people of the Most High. Who they call JC is the son of the Most High. They're not violent people. They don't lie. They care, right? And they're all the opposite of that. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. So that iconoclasm is what it's talking about, and these devils are great for making it seem as if they are blameless, they're harmless people, they love everybody, and they only go to war when people are harming them, when they're the total opposite. These devils have got to go. Because why? They only about evil, and you know what? Here's a scripture for you. This is Esau's blessing. It reads, I'll start at 39. Genesis 27:39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck. And this is what Esau has done, and he's been living, he's been ruling for a short amount of time, starting since what, the 1300s, mid 1300s, late 1300s to now. And now it's time for his power to end, and he has to be destroyed. What's that? Job It's important to go into those things. Job. What's that? 14. Bear me 1 second. Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So Esau is not going to, even though he wants you to believe that he's going to live forever and dwell forever, he's not going to be able to maintain, because the Most High has a time frame for him and it's coming to an end. Let's get another video.
If I don't have...
And it's just different topics, man.
An Arab's confession. They were taken to Belgium, they were taken to Denmark, they were also taken to America and many other nations. So the blacks that ended up in America today who call themselves American don't even realize that they were not originally American. African Americans have a true heritage.
You don't even realize who you are, Jake. We've been trying to tell you Deuteronomy 7:6, but you don't want to realize it.
With the Elohim of Israel, they indeed are the Hebrew Israelites of ancient times. Brazil has a large number of Hebrew Israelites. We have America. America has a large number, and even Canada has Hebrew Israelites. So they were driven out, and we know from history that they ended up in African lands. And I would suggest to you very strongly that the Hebrew Israelites were black. The customs today of the African nations, you will find, was very particularly linked to Hebrew Israelite customs. Now, this may come as a shock to many of you. This may come as a shock to many of you because you've been taught that, the children of Israel are in England and they are in Belgium and in Denmark, and they are the white folks or the Europeans. No, they are not. In fact, if you find the practices, one of the practices that the Hebrew Israelite customs has was a polygamy. The Nigerians, for instance, Christians, don't stop having two wives. They still have two wives, many of the people. Even though the Western Europeans reject the idea of having two wives, they want monogamous single relationships. You find that the Western people, including the American people, are stuck in their monogamous past, which was from the Romans and from the Greeks. People are happy with homosexuality, they're not happy with polygamy. Why? Because these people were never part of the Hebrew Israelites. They kept their customs and they still sneer at the customs of Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew Israelites, on the other hand, they don't have a problem with single marriages or dual marriages. Why? Because they were Hebrew Israelites. These are
Boy, he telling the truth right there, man. This is Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand. We're going to have to go into slavery, as the scriptures are saying, and we're going to be in slavery until Yahweh Shai comes back to get us up out of here. In a nutshell, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing we can do to stop them from keeping us and holding us, and also doing everything that they have been doing to us. Things that they've been doing that we knew about, and things that they've been doing that we didn't know about. It's all coming out. You can go to Jeremiah 49:10. It's all coming out. Yahweh Shai is showing us that he loves us. He's showing us through the signs in the heavens, and he's showing us through this AI, through history.
Are the laws of the Bible. For instance, if you go to Ghana today, down here, you will find that the Ghanaians have a tribe called the Ashanti. The Ashanti tribe are from an area they identify in Israel called Ashanti.
That's all I wanted from out of that. That's all I wanted from out of that.
Another round of mass layoffs shaking up Silicon Valley. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, is reportedly planning to lay off 8,000 workers. That's about 10% of its workforce. And this is just the latest in ongoing job cuts in the tech world. NBC Bears' Jocelyn Moran joins us now in the details, and this could just be the first wave, too.
Right, Jess. Now, we did reach out to Meta tonight. They said they have no comment at this time, but a Reuters report on these planned layoffs comes as Meta has been funneling billions into artificial intelligence in an attempt to catch up to rivals. Thousands of people could soon be losing their jobs at Meta. Sources told Reuters that the parent company of Facebook and Instagram will lay off nearly 8,000 employees in May, with more layoffs planned later in the year. The report of job cuts comes as Meta has been spending less on virtual reality and more on AI. Our business and tech reporter Scott Budman says Meta hired a lot of people during and after the pandemic to be part of the metaverse, but that hasn't really worked out.
Now we know that the metaverse is really not going to pan out all that much and turns out to be kind of a flop. So it's a lot of people that were working in this area that took billions of dollars of investment that didn't work out. And so many of those people are likely to lose their jobs unless they can move into something that's more current, like AI.
Several big companies have laid off workers recently. Snap, the parent company of Snapchat, announced this week plans to cut 1,000 workers, citing AI-driven efficiencies.
Salesforce has announced some cuts. Oracle cut a lot of people, and some of these cuts were blamed on AI. Block, Jack Dorsey's company, cut about 40% of its workforce, and he came right out and said AI is doing a lot of these jobs better and less expensively than humans.
And that's a dire warning to college students hoping to get a tech job.
It's not going to stop. This is just the beginning, and what we have seen so far, from the companies, it's contagious.
Ahmed Banafa is an engineering professor at San Jose State. He says he urges his students to use AI.
Don't be left behind. I mean, if you see any kind of new tools in AI, any new products by the big name Anthropic or OpenAI or Google, go and learn it. Get certification, take the classes that will make you, in the front of the line when it comes to hiring.
Jocelyn Moran, NBC Bay Area News.
Another round.
All right. Let's get one more video.
There will be a point, and it is happening now in Nigeria, as a matter of fact. They tried to go to the bank to take money out, and they said, we don't have any money.
Yep.
People who have Bitcoin in certain nations tried to get it out in U.S. dollars. They said, we can't give you that. Certain nations are not even accepting U.S. dollars. Like, it is a real thing, brother. This is why people who are trying to just say, well, the U.S. will always have money, always be the number one currency on the planet. There's, at one point, you got to stop. You have to be honest about your failing nation. Because not even yours to begin with. The fact is, BRICS is a real thing.
Yeah.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They have now added the United Arab Emirates. They have now added Saudi Arabia. They have now added a lot of other nations, and more nations are pouring in to apply to be a part of BRICS nations. China and Russia have come together. They are now exchanging economically. They are replacing the U.S. dollar. This is a very real thing that we have never seen happen. And that's why we don't think it's possible, and we don't know how to respond, because we've never experienced this before. In our generation, any generation within the last 200, 300, 400 years, we don't even know that it's a real thing. We still think it's a video game, it's a movie, because we've been so numb to it. We're like, oh, cool. Let me go down the street.
See? One more scripture for you. I'm going to shut it down. Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, which is righteous anger, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment exceedeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth this mark, and whoever receiveth the mark of his name. So it ain't no taking it out, putting it back in, or they put it in, you take it back out, you dig it out, and you receive that mark, you're going to be destroyed with the other heathen nations, and Yahweh Shai and the hopeful elect and the angels are going to watch you be destroyed in that glass, looking down at you, praying that I be part of the hopeful elect and that I get a chance to see Yahweh Shai. So just various topics that I had, man. Just wanted to speak about some of these things and bring out some scriptures with it. I pray that you were edified with that. And when I'm going to say, Kahalo Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKradash, Shalom, salutations again, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.